Jai Hind students, welcome to your channel Physics with Rumit Bhatnagar. This is the part 2 of the first chapter of class 11th Physical World. In this video, we will discuss about various conservation laws, that is, law of conservation of charge, law of conservation of mass energy, law of conservation of energy, law of conservation of linear momentum, and law of conservation of angular momentum. So, let's begin. Various phenomena occurring in nature are explained on the basis of certain laws. These laws are expressed in terms of some physical quantities. The physical quantities like charge, mass, energy, linear momentum, angular momentum remains constant when no external force acts on system. The laws governing conservation of these quantities in nature are known as conservation laws. Various conservation laws are law of conservation of charge, law of conservation of mass energy, law of conservation of energy, law of conservation of linear momentum, and law of conservation of angular momentum. Now let's understand these laws in detail. First, let's start with law of conservation of charge. Law of conservation of charge states that the total electric charge of an isolated system remains constant. In other words, we can also say this, that charge can neither be created nor it can be destroyed, but charge can be transferred from one body to the other body. Now let's understand this with the help of an example. Here we have two conductors. One is charged sphere and another is uncharged rod. When uncharged rod is brought in contact with the charged conductor, we see some charges from charged conductor flows into the uncharged rod. Now in this process, rod gains charge and sphere loses charge. But the overall charge of the sphere rod system remains constant. Now let's understand this with another example. Amber cloth experiment. Say amber has an initial negative charge of -2 units and 2 units of positive charge. So initial net charge on amber is 0. Initial charge on cloth is say -3 units of negative charge and +3 units of positive charge. Also the net charge on the cloth is 0. So initially we have both neutral amber and neutral cloth. Now when amber is brought closer to cloth and it is rubbed, now in this process, 2 electrons or 2 units of negative charge from cloth gets transferred to amber, and after rubbing, the net negative charge on amber becomes -4 units and positive charge remains +2 units. So the net charge after rubbing on amber is -2 units. And similarly, cloth loses 2 units of negative charge, hence its negative charge reduces to 1 unit and the net charge becomes +2 units. So in this process, 2 units, or you can say 2 electrons from cloth get transferred to amber. But the total charge of the system, that is -2 units and +2 units, if I add the net charge of amber and the net charge of electron, it again comes out to be 0. So again in this process, the total charge remains constant. Now let's understand the reason behind this. When amber stone is rubbed with silk cloth, frictional force breaks the loosely bonded electrons in cloth from its atom. These electrons are transferred to the amber from cloth. Hence, amber acquires net negative charge and cloth acquires net positive charge. The number of the positive charge on silk cloth is equal to the number of the negative charge on amber. Hence, the total charge before rubbing was 0 and after rubbing is also 0, which proves the law of conservation of charge. Next we come to law of conservation of mass energy. Now according to Einstein, mass and energy are interconvertible. That is, mass of a system can be converted into energy and the energy of a system can be converted into mass. But the sum of mass and energy of the system remains constant. Relation between energy and mass is given by the famous equation given by Einstein, which is E equals to mc square, where E is energy, m is mass, and c is the velocity of light in vacuum, which is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meters per second. This law is very helpful in designing nuclear reactors as well as atomic bombs. Although the conversion of energy into mass is possible at the nuclear level, but still at the microscopic level it is yet to be achieved. Now we see the law of conservation of energy. According to this law, energy can neither be created nor it can be destroyed, but it can be changed from one form to another form. For example, the total energy of a freely falling body remains constant. When a body is dropped from certain height, its potential energy decreases while its kinetic energy increases, but the total energy remains constant. Now again, let's understand this with the help of the video over here. Let's take the example of a roller coaster ride. When the car of the roller coaster ride is at the top, it has only potential energy. Its velocity is 0 and hence it does not have any kinetic energy. But as the ride goes down, its potential energy decreases and its kinetic energy increases. When the car is moving on a flat surface, it has constant potential and constant kinetic energy, provided the friction of the track is 0. Now as the car moves up, its potential energy increases and we see kinetic energy decreases, and as it comes down, its kinetic energy again increases. Hence, when the car moves up, its potential energy increases, kinetic energy decreases, and when it comes down, its kinetic energy increases and potential energy decreases. Law of conservation of linear momentum. First, let's understand what is linear momentum. Linear momentum of a body is the product of its mass and velocity, which is given by P, which is m into v. According to this law, total momentum of an isolated system remains conserved. Let's watch this video first. Now as you can see, as the gun fires a projectile, it recoils back. It recoils back to conserve the linear momentum. Initially the linear momentum of the gun and the projectile was 0. So when the projectile was fired, it acquires a positive momentum, and in order to conserve momentum, the gun moves backward to have a negative momentum. So the net momentum of the system remains 0. Now let's understand the conservation of linear momentum with another example. The video which you are seeing over here is of a rocket launch. We know that when the rocket moves up, it ejects gas in the downward direction. Now as you can see over here, as the rocket is moving up, it is ejecting gas in the downward direction. Now when the rocket was moving in the upward direction, its momentum was, say, m into v. Capital M is the mass of the rocket and the velocity with which it is going up, say, is v. And the gas is moving down with the momentum mv, where small m is the mass of the gas and capital V is the velocity with which the gas is moving down. Now the initial momentum of rocket and gas as a system was 0. Now after takeoff, the momentum of the rocket was plus mv and the momentum of the gas was minus mv. So the net momentum of the rocket after takeoff was 0. Before we discuss law of conservation of angular momentum, let's understand first what is angular momentum. Angular momentum of the system or a particle about an axis of rotation is defined as the product of linear momentum of the system or the particle and its perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation. Now say this red ball which you are seeing over here has a mass m and moves in a circular path of radius r with velocity v. Say like this. So when the ball is rotating, its linear momentum is mv, that is mass into velocity. Hence, the angular momentum L of the body would be mvr, where mv is the linear momentum of the body and r is the distance of the body from its axis of rotation. Here the axis of rotation obviously is passing through the center of this circle, that is from O. Now let's discuss what is law of conservation of angular momentum. According to the law of conservation of angular momentum, the total angular momentum of the system remains conserved if no external torque acts on it. Now let's say we have a body of mass m and it is rotating in a circle of radius r1 with velocity v1. Now if, without the application of any external torque, if the body moves in a bigger orbit of radius r2 with velocity v2, then according to the law of conservation, we can say that L1 equals to L2 or mv1r1 equals to mv2r2, or we can say v1 upon v2 equals to r1 upon r2, or v is inversely proportional to r. Now with this, we mean that if the radius of the rotation is bigger, then the velocity of the body would get smaller. So over here, when the radius was r2, which is bigger than r1, the velocity of the body was lesser as compared to what it was when it was rotating in a smaller orbit. Now, in order to understand the angular momentum better, let's have a look at this video. Here you can see a girl standing on a rotating top with dumbbells in her hand. Now watch closely. When the dumbbells are spread out, the velocity of the girl is less, and as she closes the dumbbells, towards herself, the velocity increases. So as the radius is decreased, velocity increases, and when the radius is more, velocity decreases.